A lot of people, like I said, don't know your story. Where's the whole story? The rapper, the artist, whatever. So I want to start from the beginning. And starting from the beginning is, Little Ice. Where was you born? What was the family? And let's start it from there.
I mean, real quickly, I was born in Newark, New Jersey. My mother and father, my mother was a very fair-skinned black lady. She was from New Orleans. They was Creole, you know, and that's where you get a lot of light-skinned black people with light eyes. But my father was your complexion. So therefore, back in the 50s, people looked at them like they were interracial marriage. So my mother got to hear white people talk about black people in front of her because she could pass. Back in those days, they said you could pass, you're very fair skinned. So that's why all racism went out the window in my household. My mother said that's just stupid. My father, everybody. So I never had a bit of racism in me because it was taught out of me early. Like, don't ever look at anybody and decide who they are by what they look like, So I always say I judge the devil by his deeds. I watch people closely. And I always knew that the person that looked most likely would probably be the one to stab me in the back. And the person that looked least likely would probably be the one to drag me out of a burning building. So that early in my life was like, I wasn't really connected in race to anything. My mother passed when I was in the 3rd grade. My father died when I was in the 7th grade. My mother died from a heart attack. I was with her when we were watching Batman back in the day, black and white TV, black Batman, and my mother leaned her head back and she was having a heart attack. In those days, they just moved the kids away, meaning kids didn't go to funerals or anything like that back in the day. Like, they just move you over to an aunt and they shelter you away from it.
From the pain.
From all of it, And, when my mother passed, I remember a cold moment, though. After the funeral, family members came back to our house, and they would allow me to be there after, and my relatives stole my mother's clothes, her minks and shit. My father was hot. And that was a quick lesson that, like, don't trust anybody.
Trust no one. Nah, it's crazy, man. I'll tell you a quick one in my world that I didn't understand it. My mom died. My mom died from an aneurysm later on in life. And we in the hospital. She's still on a machine, and my dad's grabbing a finger, and everybody crying, and he's trying to
pull that diamond off.
He's trying to pull the ring off. And he said, they ain't robbing my wife from here. And then he was like, I should take the wig. And I said, it's crazy, man. But
no, it's crazy, and you let people in your house. You're mourning a death, but now they're wandering through the house, and their attitude is, "Well, she don't need this no more."
That's a fact.
But it really hurt my father to see that, and I seen him like I'm a kid. I'm watching this. I'm like, "Yo, this is crazy." And then my father passed. I was in the 7th grade, and they called me into the principal's office. And everybody had those faces on, like, so. And the cold thing is, when my mother died, I didn't cry. I was just kind of like off balance. Like, every time this happened, I'm like, so what's gonna happen to me? Same there, right? I was like, you're a kid. You're like, what's gonna happen? So then that moved. When my father passed, I was like, so what's gonna happen to me? So I had an aunt that his sister, and then that summer they sent me to L.A. And at L.A., I moved in with a sister of his that I never met. And I had 2 cousins out there. They were grown. They had just got out of high school. So in comes a kid in the 8th grade that she got to take care of.
From Jersey.
Yeah. And up to that point, I was not no bad kid. I never was involved in nothing. I was just a kid. I mean, people say, oh, yeah, well, I was 12 years old. I was selling coke. No, I was still just...
You was a good kid.
Basically, I ain't gotten in nothing yet. I might have stole a bike or some shit, but I ain't gotten busy. So I got to L.A. and I got bused to Palms Junior High School, which is in Culver City. I lived in View Park, which is a very upscale area of Los Angeles. It's above Crenshaw, up on the west side. If you're on the west side of Crenshaw, it's like, so nice area. And my aunt was a social worker, and she's also an alcoholic. So she's out there deciding who gets to be in what foster homes,
Yep.
and then coming home getting smashed. So I was kind of like, I didn't like it there. But I did 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade there. Now when I got to high school, I was like, I don't want to bus, because they were back then there was integration,
Yeah.
forced integration. So they would take your kids out of the hood and moving them into white junior high school. I didn't have a problem with the white junior high school. I had a great time there. You know, when we would get off the bus, the girls treat us like the Jackson Five.
superstars,
We were getting off the bus. It was like cool, and the little white girls liked us, and the white boys didn't have a problem with us.
Everything was good.
It was no racism over there. It was cool. I mean, I think the kids were too. See, the thing of it is, this racist shit hits adulthood.
Yeah.
Kids really don't engage in it
at
unless
all.
they taught it.
It's a fact.
You know, so the kids was cool. Everybody was cool. But I didn't want to catch the bus because it added another hour to everyday school. So I wanted to walk to Crenshaw. When I got to Crenshaw, it was culture shock.
That's when it all kicked in.
Yeah, welcome to the gangs. Welcome to, you know, at the time, it was 1973. So this is the era of Tookie and Cutes and all the big gangbangers that was, you know, Raymond Washington. This is when the real gang was happening. And I'm not sure if Raymond had got killed yet, but it was right there. I think he might have happened in 72, but 73, that's when I got to Crenshaw. And you know, the gangs have already joined up because they weren't coming from Audubon, they're coming from Bethune, they're coming from Horace Mann, the other black junior highs.
Okay.
So when I get there, I'm coming from another area. So I immediately said, it don't make any sense for me to join a gang because I'm not really from any.
Either part.
See, people don't understand is you're not in a gang, you're from a gang.
It's where you live.
It's where you live.
Exactly. Yeah.
So whether if you say you live on 65th, you in the 60s, you is 60, you know, just by where you live.
Where you live, yeah.
Now, whether you're an active gang member or you're just an affiliate, you're going to understand the rules of that particular gang.
Of that gang in the neighborhood.
Right. So rolling 60s was really, Crenshaw High School is in the 60s hood, right? So you got 60s, then you had Hoovers, then you had, who were Hoover Crips at the time, now they're Hoover Criminals. You had ATGs, which are 8 Trade Gangsters, because that's 83rd Street. You had Harlem Crips, with the 30s. There were no 40 gang. There's a gang now, the 40s, but there weren't 40s at the time. So you got all these gangs around you. Now the Bloods, there were Brims in Crenshaw, but they moved out. They went to Manual Arts. They went to Dorsey. They kind of like evacuated the school. So it was a Crip school. So pretty much in that school, due to my time, went from, you know, the whole gang lifestyle to starting getting into the hustler lifestyle, like the cats in the school. There were other cats in the school. You had the gangbangers.
Hey, gang one, that was one culture.
You got the other players. These cats is wearing Fila, shooting dice, perms, you know, got a different look going, more about the women and stuff. So I was always light-skinned. I had light eyes, so I was more familiar with that.
With that lifestyle.
I said I could be over here with these players. So I started hanging out with them and the players and the hustlers, because at the time, gang membership was not about money. If there was money, it was just them jacking you for your leather coat
Code
or
or
something.
whatever. More turf, right? More.
Yeah. Later on, when I got out of high school, that's when coke hit, and that's when the gangs became money.
Money.
But when I was in high school, the gangs weren't as much about money. So I needed some money, you know what I'm saying? So by the time I got to the 12th grade, I left my aunt's house. I was getting $250 Social Security from my parents, and I told her, I said, yo, give me this money, I'll be out of here. She said, you can't live off $250. I said,
watch this.
Sign this check. So she signed a check over to me. I found an apartment over by Manual Arts on Kansas Avenue for $100 a month. There was a paper called The Recycler.
And how old was you then? You 16?
17.
17, yeah.
About to turn 18. I was in 12th grade. I said, I found it. So I went to the guy, old cat. I mean, the apartment was no bigger than this area right here. And I told him I needed a place to stay. I said, I got money coming in. He says, you too young, this, that, and the third. I said, here's the deal. I'll have this check come to you, my Social Security,
Check,
come to you, and you give me the difference.
150.
Yeah. So now he was secure with how he was going to get the money, and we had a deal. So I that was like the first business deal I cut.
Transaction.
Like,
yeah, you've been good. You wrong, man. You've been good at business from young though.